Here we go. Let's see if it
There we
goes the
go.
first time. We're back.
Oh, now we
Oh
lost.
no, we lost
Now we lost
Brendan.
Brendan.
I'm back.
Brendan.
Oh,
Dane's back. Brendan. What the heck? There he is. Let's see. There he goes.
I love being really big before you get in.
There he goes.
I hope
Dane, did you want to finish your thought there?
Sorry, Dane.
Yeah, no.
You got zoomed.
Of course.
I got zoomed, yeah.
Not to denigrate my point, but what was I talking about?
We were saying how Mike's super smart and he keeps doing the same thing no matter what the situation.
Yeah,
Okay. My only point of that was the fact that okay, I did get cut off at a really funny point because I was like, it sounded like I was being sarcastic. I think the thing is, Mike looks into a lot of things that we don't necessarily think to look into, but also Mike has his ear into a lot of things that we don't necessarily have our ears into, mainly because he's a producer. Brendan and I, actually, Brendan's got a good coin term for this one, but he calls people like us pretengineers. Because we can record things and we can get things done and do what needs to get done, but when it comes down to it, a producer is a producer for a reason. And so when I say that Mike has brain stuffs, I'm trying to do like the Trailer Park Boys Ricky explanation of Mike. Mike's got all that fucking brain science, and
it's a good impression.
He's got.
It's pretty good. It's pretty convincing.
That's really good, actually.
But anyways, that was what I was meaning. It's I don't think that Brendan or I are invalid in any way. I just think that Mike does have insights, and that is kind of what is awesome about this band. Is I think that we all do have very specific strong suits, and so knowledgeable things is not necessarily one of mine.
I compare. Sorry, I wanted to talk about the kids and the school thing because I think there's a.
And I thought I got us off.
Oh no, because no things. I think there's something analogous.
I'm joking.
Between the schools and the bands, the kids and the musicians, because like when things started hitting the fan back in March and April, and we saw when things were going. I remember March 5th, Brandon and I walking into Walmart, talking about things that are already going sideways with what's going on outside and things getting shut down. And it's like schools got shut down, touring, live music got shut down, and what Dane's talking about is like I see things differently. It's like I've been creating my own jobs and own work since about age 16, 17 through music. So like I've been self-employed more or less for like 20 years now. And the idea of like when things aren't working, you have to adapt, you have to pivot. So when everything was going bad and everything was changing the music industry, I don't think about what we can't do. I think about, well, what could we do moving forward? What if this is the new norm? Like what could 5 years out be looking like? So let's start building that infrastructure so that if we don't get touring back next year, because even like Shiprocked, which was announced a few months ago and then already got canceled again.
Got canceled.
So it's like these things, it's like, well, let's put the infrastructure together. And I think it's looking at from a business point of view. The other thing is, and again, the way that my brain's wired, if we can't go to school, if I was a parent, I'd be thinking, okay, well, I don't necessarily want my kids in a class with 20 other kids right now. Why can't we just get a tutor and just have 3 or 4 kids in one class and it's distanced and go, you know what, we can pay for this, or maybe the government can subsidize that because the government's been giving money. Same thing with the bands. It's like, how can we have maybe smaller shows, or how can we have the outdoor shows? Like, how can we kind of pick our spots so that we can still get the bulk of what we're after, but we're not just trying to force it back into the old way? Because when I saw what they were doing with the schools, I'm like, cases are going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
No, and I do get what you're saying with that, Mike. But
same
I
thing
think
with touring. If they open touring
is
back up, it's going to skyrocket.
it is very different in Woodstock, Ontario, than it is in Toronto. In the size, in the way of class sizes.
And I would get that.
For instance, hold on. For instance, here, the class size right now is 6 people. So as far as social distancing, like they do have that option. And mainly the big thing for us was looking at the ability to actually have them homeschool themselves. Because it's not like you can sit there with a tiny Acer laptop and go through what they were trying to do. Most of the people that have done the distance learning have had issues with the computers, issues with the software, even just issues like, you think of if you don't have a good internet connection. Mm-hmm. Like, how many times have we had during our live streams where it's like, oh yeah, Dane needs to be saved, Brendan needs to be saved.
That's our term when it's cutting out.
Yeah. Saved.
I
they need to be
that.
saved.
No,
so all I'm saying is if they're taking, like, if we're believing that social distancing indoors is, you wear your mask, you keep 6 feet away, or 2 meters, or whatever it is, you use your sanitizers, then I don't see any reason why a kid can't go to school when people can go to Walmart.
No, and I get that. And I think it's great if you can keep class sizes down. And yeah, places like Toronto, where the biggest hole in the bucket here as far as cases is public transit, because you have all these people interacting, all these people touching. There's all these contact points. So yeah, a place like Woodstock, where it is small enough where they can have those smaller class sizes, and I get to.
We are lucky here for that.
No, there's definitely perks like that. The thing is, it's like when it starts to spread, that's where small communities, I think, if a small community is going to get hit, they're going to get rocked because they're not looking forward at all. Meanwhile, up here, we're trying to be on guard and the cases still go up. It's funny when you mentioned back in March when the kids, they went on March break and didn't go back. I was at the vet in Peterborough and they were joking about it, and I butted into the conversation and was like, it might be a lot bigger than you think it is. And then 6 months later, they're not letting anybody into the vet anymore. They're just dropping, meds and stuff outside the door, and contactless pickup. And you're just like, they didn't think about it. And I had to butt in because like Peterborough is an older population. And I'm just like, some of you still have your parents alive into their 80s and 90s. It's like and it was rocking old folks homes and care homes and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that it's hard, I think, in smaller communities because like Dane, yeah, you take it seriously. Yeah, you have family and healthcare, but it's just like I see it, just people not really.
No, I definitely don't not take it serious, and not only the family and healthcare, but like, Jen definitely has some respiratory things, and not only that, but my parents aren't 20 years old. Mm-hmm. Like I definitely don't not take it seriously, but I think that I take a big, I guess, cue from my parents and what they're doing, and especially based on the fact that like your mom is a nurse, Brendan, your mom's a nurse, like all of our moms are nurses. And the biggest thing that my mom said is she's like, you can't not take this. And honestly, since I was, I think, the last that I, like the earliest I can remember, I think I was 11. My mom has been calling for this pandemic forever. Like she was in infection control at the hospital.
Wow.
And she's been saying for since I was a kid, I can remember thinking my mom was like a crazy Christopher Walken character or something, because she constantly was like, you need to get your flu shots, you need to get this, you need to take your vitamins, like there's going to be a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think of it, like we haven't gone through this.
No.
Like the closest thing to this in the nearest history is the Spanish flu.
That was 1918, and that killed like 2 million people.
And that's serious.
Yeah.
And so like I can see the people that are calling conspiracy and calling, you know, like the numbers aren't right and everyone the numbers have been, and I get that. I'm not saying that everything is above board. But even if it's like a 15% chance that what is being said is close to true, stop doing dumb stuff. Like, stop having mass protests.
Oh my
like,
God!
seriously?
Yeah, fuck's sakes, I hate that shit.
No, what Dane's saying too, it's like with what Mama's saying, it's like this could have happened 10 years ago. This could have happened 10 years later. So when people get really mad about it happening right now, you're just
this could have happened anytime.
That's the hand that we got dealt right now.
Like, we weren't ready.
We got dealt Napster, and now we got dealt COVID.
Napster brought COVID somehow. Yeah.
And it was all Metallica's fault.
That's right. Thanks, Lars.
No, they tried to warn us. They were the first people that, like, you need to wear masks. No, Lars was right.
They were the first mask providers.
They were like, we need to fix this. This is bad. Lars was right. Put that on a mug.
There you go. Lars was right.
Lars was right.
Lars was right.
It needs to be the guy that's sitting at that like college booth where it's like, you know,
Lars was right. Change my mind.
Lars was right. Change my mind. Oh my goodness.
That's hilarious.
I'd love to see someone that came up with like drum tightening software argue that point.
That's right. That's so funny. But, you know, to your point too, Mike, about, so you're talking about how it's just blowing up in smaller communities and things like that. Like where I'm at, we've got about 200,000 people or so. And right now we're the hotspot for this shit. So our ICU is full beyond capacity. We've lost, I think 20 people have died the last week, which is a lot for us.
Wow.
And we're still rising, like through it all, through the early stages of this. I think by the time we got to July, the highest amount of cases we had in one day was like, or the highest case we had total was like 78, which is fuck all. That's nothing compared to Ontario, compared to the States.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nobody's got nothing compared to the States. But now, I remember the first day in, would have been mid-November, we had our first day of like 100 cases. And now we're getting, last week we had 400 cases. And now it's averaging 300 new ones a day, right? So it's just,
it's snowballs. Yeah, no, that's the part. That's the issue. That's the thing with people not taking it. Yeah, because there's two parts of what you just said there. It's like, you know, 20 people have died, and some people are like, oh, well, that's not a lot. That's 20 families. 20. Just assume that's 20 families.
One of those numbers was a friend of mine's grandma that just passed the other day.
Yeah,
so that fucking sucks.
It blows my mind when I hear people saying like, oh, I don't know anyone that's had it, or I don't even know. And it's like it's either you don't know that many people and that's not a knock against that person, or like you haven't been paying attention.
Exactly.
We know several fans that have had it. I know 2 fans right now that are struggling with it. And it's just like, and it hits. Also with the way the stats are, because of that asymptomatic period, be it 5 days or 10 days. And that was the issue at the beginning because of the airports. It's like you got people traveling around and it just spread like wildfire. So when you talk about your cases going up, you're always assume 2 weeks from now it's going to be worse until it proves that until it breaks the trend and starts going down.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, until the peak starts dropping. Yeah.
And then you're in the right way, but it's just like as it keeps going up, you are always 2 weeks away from it potentially going down. That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
I remember I was all excited when the US got to 250,000 cases. Now they're almost at that per day.
It's bonkers.
That's bonkers thing. Like,
and people like, oh, most people survive. And you're just like, yeah, well, we're approaching 300,000 families affected because of losing loved ones. That is crazy. So anyways, not to get animated about this.
No, please do. That's fine. But,
no, if there's one thing to get animated about,
I think it's this. This is something that directly affects every person in the world.
Like fake Christmas trees is not something to get animated about, but like,
well, not to get even deeper into it too.
Don't get on me on the fake Christmas tree. It's beautiful.
I've got three fake trees in my house. It's fine.
That's a different part.
Wait, hold on. You have 3 trees?
It's a weird thing. I have like a tiny one, like fucking like that big. And then
it's like the warm up?
Yeah, exactly.
I just screenshotted that whole little segment.
Did you?
I'm going to play it back to you. I have a tiny one.
I have a tiny one. Then my mother-in-law sent like a huge one. So there you go. And then we had
I'm
a mid-sized one that we had last year. So I put one in my kids' room, one in the basement, and the big one stays in the room. There you go. It's unnecessary. Start throwing shit up.
The point I wanted to make before no, anyways, there's a psychology down in the States because like consumer debt and money owed is like it's off the charts when you look at it. And there's the idea where like I can't remember what the term is, but it's like there's a lot of people they're not trying to kill themselves, but they're subconsciously killing themselves very slowly through our vices, through our bad habits, lack of exercise, poor diet, all these things that we kind of just do. And then when we get the diagnosis, oh, your heart's giving out, or like, oh, your lungs are shot, or your liver's gone. It's like, oh, woe is me. But it's like, no, they were kind of on that path anyways. And one of the articles, they were talking about how like consumer debt is so insane. For some people, the idea, and again, if you don't have money in the States, you're up the creek if you end up in the hospital. Yeah. So the idea of just like where someone that may have, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 worth of consumer debt, never got married, never bought a home, can't keep a dog or cat. It's just all these things where it's like the idea they basically go to work and come home every single day. The idea of getting sick enough where that's their exit strategy. They're kind of not shying away from it. And it was it's a really dark article to read, but at the same time, like it's not crazy to think of that, or some,
no, it's not.
Just, where they are in life and how they're thinking about stuff. And it's just like, that's dark, but it's not crazy. And it's sad. I think it's pretty sad.
It should be crazy. Like that should be something that they have like reach out things for. If that's a thing that's happening.
But there's a lot of vices and addictions and stuff, and people say, oh, it's a cry for help. And it's like, well, again, when you're surrounded by people that also have the same vices and addictions, and you're not really in a supportive community where you're going to look at it and go, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, or maybe we should be trying to do other things. But the idea of like, you see these stories on Facebook where people, they're anti-mask, or they think it's out of proportion, or, they think that, the government's infringing on too many rights and stuff, and they end up getting sick, and then they turn and they're just like, this is not good. Or they lose a loved one and all of a sudden now it's serious.
Say, oh shit, maybe I should. Yeah.
Yeah. I will go on the record and say, I don't think we should have been closing businesses. I think
businesses could have adapted to it because a lot of businesses do the curbside, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah. And what Dane was saying is like, we can have people in Walmart, and it's like the science and the studies are showing it's like a lot of the spread's happening in the home. It's happening when people are sharing meals. And it's like the difference is at Walmart, you can have 300 people in there, but they're not shaking hands, sharing meals, multiple hands around the table. Yeah. There's enough of a gap there where that stuff's fine. The same thing with schools. If there's that gap, then what the science says is that we're good. But
the gap in wearing masks, right? Because then you're not fucking
and you're not
aerosols aren't whatever, or at least enough of the aerosols aren't spreading to people. People sitting around a dinner table talking and eating. That's bad. It's like that's ground zero for spreading it. But
that's sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, keep going. Finish your thought.
I was just going to say my train of thought.
Ground zero.
I'm
for
sorry. I
Pulled into
dinner.
the station for a second. We were talking about
Talking about the spread at like
families
family dinners
and
stuff
talking
like
around the
that.
dinner table and stuff like that.
yeah, I think it was more on.
The closing businesses.
I lost it. Yeah, the closing the business. Yeah, the businesses could have adapted, and you're starving out all these businesses for even having a hope of being able to compete still, because it's like if you had stock in Amazon or Walmart or Zoom, like you're doing pretty well right now, but it's just like all these smaller businesses where it's hard enough to keep going, and then even at the beginning, especially down in the States, it's like the amount of money they pumped into the market to keep airlines going and big box stores and like all these other stores going. And it's like, they didn't even have the cash flow to survive a month. Meanwhile, like mom and pop stores and small businesses, it's
How
like,
do they do it?
they didn't really have a lot of help. And then like, I think it was about 4 months later before they started helping the businesses around here. And it's like, that's too late if you're screwed for rent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just like, we didn't need to close the businesses. Like give them a
There's
chance.
so many rock bars that are done and gone now, in like places with live music in the city.
Dude,
where it's
Call the Office closed.
Yeah. No,
really Call the Office did. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think we're at a point now too where like anybody that thinks it's serious, wants to wear masks, wants to distance, only go out for essentials, they're going to do it. And the people who aren't are going to go do their own thing too. Like, I don't think you're changing a lot of minds unless people have it hit closer to home. And it's really,
man, if I picked up my
crap to say
laptop
that,
now and walked outside to let Rex extricate his excricatedness, like I guarantee you that to the right and to the left, there would be neighbors like sitting out on their stoops, drinking beer with like a little barbecue. And on any other given day, I would never be the one being like, no, put your barbecue away, you barbecuers.
Yeah.
No, like I would be running over there being like, can I roast my weenie on that fire?
well, that's to be said about people with their bubbles and stuff too. It's like
Yeah.
being very mindful of the people that you do interact with, and then being like,
No, I'm not talking about bubbles. I'm talking about like Ricky and Julian. No, I'm kidding. I'm like, this is multiple people, like 10, 15 people hanging around a stoop, just kind of sitting there.
Again, they're outside, and like there's definitely upsides to that too, but we see articles every single week, 16 people got together, 14 got COVID, 3 are in ICU. Like, it's not worth it right now.
Well, don't you think too is that, and it's so crazy that it's so different from province to province. Like there should have been one unified direct way, or like a set of fucking restrictions for everybody. It should be like, okay, well, in Ontario, you guys can have 80 people. Well, I know they do it because population size and shit, but it's like you can have 80 people outside. That's fine. Here, it's like now you can't do outside shit at all, and you can only have 4 people in your house. You can stay in your household. No one else can come into your house. Okay, that's just and it's different as you go. Like Manitoba, I know in their Walmarts they've taped off everything that's not essential, so that people don't stay in the stores, because Manitoba's fucking dying, and we're in between Manitoba and Alberta. Like Alberta's begging the Red Cross for fucking field hospitals. Like, it's crazy.
No, with stronger leadership, and this isn't going too political, but just like, I think Canadian government did a good job in the beginning, especially
100%.
getting money out to people, because like people got to pay their rent. Like that's the number one stress. It's like, you can be hungry, you can be unloved, but it's like, if you got a roof over your head, that's a really good start for a lot of people. But trying to roll out rules across the country where there's nothing going, there's 0 cases where you are, that's a hard sell to somebody.
That's a hard sell.
And the thing is, it's like, if you could go back in time, they would probably hop on board now, because it took a while for it to get there. Because as we were saying earlier, it's like some of these communities that people don't come in and out of very often. Yeah. And all it takes is 1 positive case to spread it to 5. And then 5 families turns into 30, and 30 turns into 200. So.
Yeah. I do think that the small towns are going to be the tough spot. because they're all sitting there thinking nothing's going on. Like I know the attitude around here. Everybody is so angry for wearing the masks now because there's not. I think there was like 2 cases that were close to here, but everybody's sitting there saying, no, this is just they're making it up. It's bullshit. But it's because of the fact that they maybe don't have any friends and family that live 2 hours this way or an hour this way. And the hard part is you can't. There's a limerick. It's like a horse convinced something of its will returns. Well, no, I don't have to deliver. I'm saying that there is a limerick. You can look it up.
The horse limerick.
I give up. Something about a horse. I don't know. Find it up. You do your homework.
I tried, but
not you. I mean, just in general.
Joe?
A horse.
I know we know Brendan did. Brendan's holding out.
A horse convinced against his will.
I don't know this
returns to his something still. You know what?
I buy it. That's pretty close.
I'm gonna find it, and you're gonna think I'm freaking.
No, this is good. I'm into this. I'm into horse-related limericks.
I'm calling my dad.
This turned into. Who wants to name it there?
My dad can be your dad.
Lifeline.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard for us because like I would say probably 90% of our Facebook feeds are American friends and fans.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember a couple months ago when one person from Alabama was like, "Does anyone even know anybody that had this?" And there was like 80 comments right away of people being like, yeah, like you know, uncle was sick with it, or like brother was sick with it. Like it's just all these comments, and it's one of those posts where it's like, it was not a good look. Because it's like you really have been paying attention, or like maybe your circle and your community is just so kind of fenced in, where like you don't know other people. Like but given at the beginning, it's like, look at what happened in New York. Like it got rocked so hard because of close quarters, public transit, tight living quarters, and 2 international airports.
2, yeah.
Yeah, like. You're toast at the beginning of that first month.
Well,
people
they
going,
had fucking bodies in freezer trucks because they ran out of room at the morgues. That's fucked up.
That's messed up.
Fucked up, dude.
Yeah, and people going like, "Well, it's not really real."
It's not real. It's like, look. What is this from? What's happened? Like, this is not fake. It's their lives.
Yeah, it's not props. It's not props.
Is this a bad time to come in with Dale Carnegie's popular book, How to Win Friends and Influence People?
What are you going to say about it?
Well, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
So
that's okay.
I get that. I just want to say, Dane, you said it was a horse?
Yeah. I wanted horses, Dane.
So I think
expected horses,
we can find a compromise, say a senator convinced against his will.
Did I actually? Okay, well... No. Let's go with that.
Like the centaur version. That's good.
Honestly,
it's way.
I think I was going on
stronger.
I think I was going on the you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, and so I was in between the. But no, I'm not backing down.
Okay, I got a real question.
Dane,
you're gonna want to hear this.
Drowned under. Sorry, what?
Okay, so back. You know how we wear pants?
Yeah.
How's
centaur wear pants? Is it just on the back 2 legs, or is it all on 4 legs?
I thought you were going completely like.
I'm curious. I think this is a real thing because it's.
Or is it 2 pairs of pants? 2 different pairs.
But am I the centaur? Like, do I have to tell you how I would wear pants as a centaur?
I'm just wondering.
If you were a centaur, how would you wear pants? And we'll end with that tonight. If you guys were each a centaur, Mike. 2 pairs of pants or 1 pair?
I still think
I want to feel what it would be like to actually walk as a centaur.
The waistline is still the waistline, so you would have to put 4-legged pants on, possibly. And if you got a tail, a little zipper in the back.
The zipper, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you don't want well, then you're probably open all the time actually. So you gotta go to the
Yeah.
bathroom. So no zipper. You definitely
Maybe
need
a
a zipper.
button. Maybe a button.
Button.
Guys, honestly, like
Flap.
I feel like I've worn pants in ways that maybe
They
men
resemble a
shouldn't wear
centaur?
pants.
I agree.
But
you
at the
probably
same
have.
time, like
The J&Co pants, just a couple pairs of those.
I've definitely got some Jenkos.
I had
But
some.
I'm looking.
Early 2000s.
I'm looking at this
That's right, guys.
situation. I don't think that there's any way that you can get pants above, because you'd need to go above the nipples.
Okay, now what if you had a pair of pants with legs big enough that you could fit, 2 legs from one side, 2 legs from the other side? Just like a giant fucking...
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could alter that
That's true.
shit. Like a blanket, but pants.
So there's only two
That's right.
2 leg holes, but you
But
can get
4
2
legs
legs.
could go through.
2 legs per hole.
Well, the head stays on top. You wear a shirt like normal, right?
That's
fine.
true.
It's the horse body I'm worried about. I think.
Hold on, no. The logistics are not working out. So I put my arms in one leg.
No.
No,
We're just worried
because
about
you
the
still
bottom
have
half.
4 legs and you still have your 2 arms.
Yeah, you got 4 legs and 2 arms.
Yeah.
Wait, so I actually hold on. Centaurs. Oh, they do.
Yeah, they have a horse body, but a man.
Okay,
torso.
I wasn't thinking. I was
Okay.
thinking.
They
Yeah.
have this, but 4
Obviously,
legs.
I wasn't thinking.
Imagine it had the horse body and the man torso, but still had like another set of horse arms. So they didn't even get thumbs.
That would be so
Can you
funny.
imagine
They're
being
just going
the
around
one,
like this is
Can you imagine being the one centaur that got
terrible.
like the top half but didn't get the bottom half?
Not the
So
bottom.
you're the centaur that's got like man legs and a man penis.
You're just the joke. Everyone makes fun
Yeah,
of
like
the other
you're
centaurs.
running around with all these centaurs that have like horse penises,
Yeah, there you go.
and they're all just like, oh, look at that guy, look at him over there with the man penis.
this man junk.
Here
hanging
comes
around.
old Tiny Tim. That's what they call
He's
him.
Yeah.
He's those little tiny pubes.
What's going on? The river cold? Sorry.
It's the river cold. That's hilarious. I just pictured
That's
a
the
centaur.
tiniest eggplant I've ever
Just
seen.
staying in the river. No, I'm
Just
good.
staying in
I'll
the
see you
river.
guys later.
You know,
I'll be out in a
No,
bit.
no, don't worry about it. Is
Nice.
it dark yet?
it's not dark.
Is it dark yet? I can't tell. I can only see in 2D.
Yeah. Only That's so funny.
Oh wait, no, that's dogs.
That's dogs. I don't know. If you're like, I assume if you're a centaur, you could still see everything as normal. It'd just be the bottom half that's the difference.
Yeah.
Right.
that's what they-
Yeah, but that's if you're
Brain.
not the reverse centaur.
So reverse centaur.
It's the reverse centaur that has the tiny ween.
That's right.
Like
So
a
you're like-
horse. it's
you're
a
like-
horse head.
BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, it's got a horse
It's
head
a
and a
horse.
man wiener.
BoJack Horseman, yeah. It's a horse head, but like a man's.
A man's lower half.
Yeah,
Man's
man's
body.
lower half. And so all the other centaurs are looking over like, what is going
Wait,
on over
no,
there?
wait. No, if it was reverse, he'd still have the horse head and the horse torso with the horse
with the
arms.
hooves hand. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd have
But he
hooves.
had-
He'd have the
But he had
hoof
this
hands.
tiny little man waist and these weak little man legs, these tiny little
Well,
man
he'd be able to
feet.
hold
Funny thing
himself
is
up.
that would
His
that would be the
ankles.
most- that would be the most
Oh,
painful masturbation you've ever seen.
It'd be a lot
Gotta
easier
take
for him to
his-
get
he's
jeans,
got to
though.
take his
Taking
hooves
the jeans.
and like
I think
he's got to hoove it.
I think you'd have to. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna get in trouble.
That's almost like getting hoovered.
He'd be able to get jeans pretty easy, though.
Yeah.
He'd just go into the store and go,
Oh, open the door. It's in there hooving off.
Just a,
It's terrible.
28-inch waist. It's fine. 28
Yeah.
inch, 32-inch leg. You're good to go. But you're a horse on top. It's fucked up. That's weird.
So are you a 30 waist?
Oh, 28 on a stick. Yeah.
Man, I want to start answering questions like that now. It's like this is COVID times. There's no right or wrong.
There's no normal anymore.
some-
You could totally be a
Someone's
horse.
like, oh, okay. So do you all your insurance is up to date?
Of course, the people at the liquor store, they'll be like, yeah, this is pretty much a normal day.
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah, sir, here's your
do you have
bottle of
an Air
whiskey.
Miles
Yeah,
card?
bag or a box?
Oh,
See,
it's a tiny,
actually,
he wants a tiny
a
bottle
really
of rum.
good one.
He wants a tiny bottle of rum, too.
Tiny bottle of rum, just under Mickey size. Yeah.
If he stamps,
Could I
if he
just get
stamps
one of
twice-
these?
just the taster.
Just the tip.
Yeah, just the tip. There you go. So when's your guys' next live stream? Are you planning one? Can you do it anymore?
Sundays
What
at
day is
6.
today?
Sundays at 6.
Sundays at 6.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, Sunday.
On the YouTube channel, right? Or where do you
Yep,
do it now?
YouTube,
Still
YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. We use StreamYard, so we blast it out to all those platforms at the same time.
StreamYard. I'm going to look into that.
It's pretty good.
StreamYard is pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a pretty cool countdown thing you can do on it.
Oh, yeah?
Brendan was right about to do it to you, and then he realized we were not
Doesn't
on
have it.
StreamYard.
It's a very epic countdown.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
No, StreamYard's good. Hopefully at some point we can like play music with each other through the internet, but we're just not there yet. As much as I want it to be there, it's just not there.
Should just try it
Design
anyways,
something,
though.
Mike. Just design something.
We should try. We should just try it. It's true.
It's the lag issue. It's just
It is, yeah.
yeah.
That's-
We're
We're
close.
not there yet.
As soon as we can move consistently move gigabit back and forth, uploading and downloading, then we're golden. But we're just not there yet. So don't live in tech forward places like Kansas City.
We have
Leave
to
that.
keep
Save the
asking
best internet.
Donatello.
Kansas
how
has
it
the
should
best
go.
internet, really.
There is a lot of the Silicon Valley. They were going to move to Kansas City for a bit because they're
Seriously?
they opened the floodgates for a lot of tech stuff and said, you know what, just do what you want. So they've got
Holy
one of the best hubs for internet.
Overland
I have no
Park.
idea.
But that was
So
still
what,
a few years
what is
ago.
it? What is it that makes it so hefty?
Infrastructure. They just put the infrastructure in. You know how we're still trying to put like Bell fiber optics and stuff in right
If
now?
people like for the people that don't know like words
Faster.
and they don't know what
They have
infrastructure
faster
is.
infrastructure.
Bigger
If five-
engines, more power.
Fiber optics. That's all it gets down to. That's where we're at right
That's
now.
all you had to say.
Speed of light.
Tim Taylor.
Light
They
pipe.
have more Tim
Okay.
Taylor.
But yeah, Sundays at 6. That's the safe one.
Yep.
Sundays at
Dane will
6.
serenade you.
Awesome. Fucking check it
I'll
out.
sing stuff for you.
That's good. They'll be there for it. That's awesome. It was a pleasure, fellas. If we're still locked down a couple months, I'll fucking have you back, and we'll just figure out if I'll make a pair of centaur pants and see if we can just work this out for our marginalized.
Man, you make a
centaur
pair,
listeners.
we'll make a pair, and we'll see
Compare
how we
notes.
can merge those two to take over the world.
You're right.
Like
Well, thanks
Pinky
for
in the
having us.
Brain.
I like it. I like it. Pinky in the brain. That's good. Well, you guys stay safe, okay?
You too.
You too, man.
Thanks for having
having
us.
us, brother.
Cheers.
We'll do it again. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Joe.